The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing. Here's your host, Matt Hansen.
This is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast. My name is Matt Hansen, and I'm here with Jim Diedlow. And today we are talking about nonverbal cues that are costing your company's sales. And I know you probably don't think about this, but human beings will give off all kinds of signals. And quite honestly, if you're not paying attention to them, it's going to cost you tons of money. What do you think about that, Jim?
I think, what comes up to mind right away? And first of all, here we are in Hammond, Indiana, and I'm usually sitting over there, and I love this feel where I'm just kind of hanging out like a guest or whatever. I'm typically in that chair. But I remember I gave you an idea last week, and I didn't even think that you even liked it or were ever going to you bring it up again because of your nonverbal cues. You just looked away and walked away, and then that was it. I thought, that idea, he'll never want to capitalize on it. And then I get a phone call, and you're like, God, I just can't stop thinking about this. Well, so you gave away a non-nonverbal cue.
So I laugh about, we'll talk in negotiation at a different point, right? So, don't tip your hat, right? But today, again, like I said, we're talking about the nonverbal cues, and I cannot stress the importance of this to anyone. Literally every day I see this, right? So people are always trying to sell you on something, right? There's always, every single day you're being sold on something. It doesn't have to be a product or service, but it could be an idea, right? So you were selling an idea, or you're at work and somebody's talking to you about something and they're trying to get you. We talked about the power of saying no in the past, but there are a variety of cues that you have to pay attention to, and we're going to kind of talk about those today. And
one of the things in the past podcast that you said, and I didn't believe this, and Adriana is our producer. She's a student here at Purdue Northwest, and Hansen said the average person sees between 4,000 and 6,000 ads a day. And I started looking around, and I'm like, wow, I think he's right.
Well, that's a good thing that I'm right.
Well, yeah.
No, but I mean, I thought he can't. I'm thinking hundreds. You know what I mean?
If anything, wouldn't businesses that you see just driving by be a form of advertisement because their logo is right there in front of your face?
I'm looking at one right over Jim's head right now.
Yes. So you look at advertisements even if you're not digitally.
Oh, okay. I guess you're including that. But since you said that, I'm like, it's right in the vein of everyone's trying to sell me something all day long. It's like, how does the brain take that? How does the brain take that? But we're going to talk about how the brain interprets actual body language and nonverbal cues. I'm not real good at that either. I misread you completely about this idea.
Well, that might have been a little bit on purpose as well. But one of the things that I train a lot of students in sales, and I will literally take them into a negotiation and we'll have conversation. And I'll throw them nonverbal cues in that negotiation and we'll record it. And then we'll come back later and we'll say, okay, what did you notice? What did I do in there? And of course, they're nervous as all get out, right? I'll say, watch what I've done here. And I'll show them on the video. And I'm like, did you catch that? And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, you've got to be aware of what you're looking at. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is kind of the eye gives away a lot of things. So we know this. As human beings talk, we stare at each other, we look each other in the eyes. And when you talk to somebody and they are not looking you in the eye, there's something wrong, right? It's an uncomfortableness. And depending upon where the eyes go, you could start to read them. Right? So you'll notice, and I'm giving away way too many secrets here, especially for those of you that watch me on YouTube in this podcast, but you'll notice if eyes go up or eyes go down, those mean different things. You'll notice that if eyes go up and to the right, eyes go up and to the left, those are different things. So don't do that. Don't go back into YouTube and analyze my eyeballs. But I've done enough of these studies to realize that certain things are happening, right? So if you're talking with somebody and they're looking you into the eyes, they're interested in what you're saying. But if they start to lose eye contact, we all know what that means, right? That's a nonverbal cue that's saying I'm losing interest, I'm looking at something else. I've waned from what we were discussing.
How about a phone look?
A phone look is even worse, right? So I not to jump ahead, but I was literally sitting in a very important meeting the other day, and I realized that my phone was the only one out on the table. And I quickly grabbed it and put it into my pocket. Because a phone on the table, you know what that symbolizes? I'm waiting for something better. Right? As Jim's on his phone right now.
I'm doing this on purpose.
Right? But putting your phone out there symbolizes that you can be pulled away from the conversation that you're having, right? So I'm not fully involved in what I'm doing here. That's why nobody saw me do it, but I grabbed the phone and I hid it. I put it into my pocket because I didn't want to give that impression that I was waiting for something better that was going to come along.
You know, is that an age thing with the phone? Because I have meetings with my staff, and a lot of times they'll just look at their phone, and I used to get me really mad, and then I was like, you know what, I think this is just normal. They're just always looking at their phone, and then if I put up a big stink, then it's almost like a battle line is drawn. You know, maybe they've had that same argument with their parents or something.
We have that conversation in our house as well. You know, how the kids will look at the phone and, you know, put the phone down, and the way that I look at this is, yes, it's a distracting factor, and the general population at this point looks at a phone consistently hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times during the day. Is it a good thing? No. But if you've got your audience so ingrained in the conversation, they're not going to look at your phone in the first place. So I'm sorry to those people that work for you that are looking at the phone, and maybe I'm calling them out a little bit, but I've done the exact same thing that you're talking about, where you're in a meeting that you're not supposed to be looking at your phone, and you look at your phone. And what you have to realize is, at that point, you've become bored in the conversation. There's something else that's pulling you away from it. Okay? So it's definitely a nonverbal cue that you got to look out for. But let's go back to the eyes, right?
You're calling all sorts of people. You're giving all sorts of secrets.
I'm giving you the
work on it.
I'm giving you the secrets. This is what we teach in sales. So when you're looking at somebody face to face, you're eyeball to eyeball, it shows that there's interest. If somebody looks down, it shows either nervousness, uncomfortableness. You've hit something that they're just not comfortable. So if you're trying to sell them on something and they're starting to look down or they're starting to look at the exit, that's a major play right there. Like you need to pay attention to that. Find something to draw the eyes back up. Get them interested. You're losing them at that point. So you're losing the sale, is what I always like to say. If people are looking up, what they're trying to do, they can look in one of two ways, right? So they can look up and to the right and they're constructing a thought. If they look up and to the left, they're constructing a memory. Right? So if they're up and to the right, they're constructing a thought. It's not something that they've lived through. They're trying to think of something, trying to tell a story, but they're making up the story as they go. The other way, they're reliving a memory, something that they want to share with you, but they're trying to remember all the details of it. So when you start to see the eyes go in different directions, there's a reason for it. And it's funny, and again, I do this all the time. I hate it. I'll be having a conversation with somebody, and my eyes will go a certain way, and I'll feel myself doing it, and I'll have to push them back to head on or whatever, right? So I'll look down, and I'm like, why did I just look down? I need to jump back up, get more ingrained in this conversation. So I know that's a lot that we've thrown at people all of a sudden, but I think it's interesting that you have to understand, you have to start to realize you're in a sales negotiation, you're trying to sell somebody on something. Understand that eyeballs tell a lot about an individual.
So we're talking to local marketers, and they're like, we just had somebody in here, and she was selling a service. She may be selling it to somebody who only has a very limited set of time. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at their eyes, and can you bring that as one of the factors of why they might not be giving you the entire attention? Or is it like, I must have all attention for my whole sales thing? Or do you bring that into the conversation?
I think you're reading the mood, right? So if their eyes are going up, they're thinking about things, you've triggered the brain activity. If they're looking down or they're looking at the door, you've exhausted the amount of time that you have. You need to speed things up. It's kind of like when our producer puts up the sign that says, "Hey, we've gone too long." That's exactly what we're talking about here. You need to wrap things up and try and go for the sale right at that point. So it's funny because we, on the show here, we get the little board that says, "Hey, wrap it up."
And then we keep going like it never happened. Yeah. Our producer Adriana's like, "Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, and that's how we go." But so once you get these cues, what do you do?
Pay attention to them, right? So if people are looking down, looking away, speed up the process, right? Try and find one trigger to get back to, where they want to be. And then, if they're looking up, they're trying to think of things, you've got them in a conversation. Let it go. Don't speed that up. They're starting to think about things, right? So, if you're a real estate agent and you're talking to somebody and you're saying, "Oh, this would be a great room for your son. Look at this, look at that," and their eyes start to go up and they start to think about it. That's a trigger right there. They're saying basically, "Oh, I can see how Johnny would use this room for this and that," and all those types of things. If they're looking down, they're already looking on to the next room. They're not interested in that conversation. Forget that in the sales process because, quite honestly, they're not interested in Johnny having this room for some reason. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does.
Okay.
And the reading of it is like you're actually talking about things that some people do naturally. They already get all these cues and stuff. But to me, a big one has always been the eyes are, you're looking at them. I get it. To me, it's the body, the fidgeting, the arm placement, the sitting open, this and that. So talk about that a little.
Oh, the closed arms, right? Just let's wrap our arms. Let's close them off. Anytime that we put our arms, our hands in front of us, we're hiding from people that we're talking to, right? So we close off our arms. We touch our face, right? Our hand goes up somehow, some way. We touch our nose. Those are all nonverbal cues that we're trying to hide from you. That we're uncomfortable, that we want to get away from the conversation that we're having. We're not having a good time. If we're open, we have our as I sit here and I watch the video, the playback of what we're shooting here today, my hands are open to you. I'm offering advice. I'm being open to you. I'm trying to provide value to you. I'm not closed off. I'm not sitting here with my arms closed and turned away from the camera.
So there's a difference in hands in front of hands up and "Hi, how are you?" and then like hands like kind of in the middle, right, blocking the camera from your face, that kind of stuff. Right. You're blocking from the conversation, ultimately the thoughts, and probably the sale too.
Exactly. So look for these things because obviously we want people to be comfortable when we're talking about different things that we're trying to sell them.
All right now let's talk about body position. All right, right now, I'm cross-legged, sitting here, and I haven't moved. What do you get from crossed legs?
You're comfortable. You're just sitting there at that point. But if I were to have a conversation and I'm selling you on something, I'm going to know as soon as you take that leg down, I've hit on something. You opened up, right? So you put your leg down, you start to sit up. Those are huge clues that people are interested in what you're talking about. You've closed off. You sit down and you close off. Your leg goes crossed. That's fine. We all sit back. We get comfortable. But I'm looking for certain things that I can do to you to send that leg down, to get you to sit up, right? And these are things that we do. I do with clients. I do with classes. I will literally sit up in a negotiation to see if they catch me on it, and I'll let them go, and then I'll pull back because I'll wait for them to actually go forward and try to push me into that sale at that point. So we move up, we sit up, my leg comes down, both feet on the floor. Those are interesting cues that you need to pay attention to because somebody just opened up the door for you to walk right through. And if you don't take it, you're going to lose it.
All you care about is a sale. So sometimes people that are buying, it's kind of a power position.
Right.
And I mean, you don't mind. You don't mind giving it to them. Like, hey, I don't want to fight you on who's wrestling here. If you need to feel a little bit in power, I'm good with that. How do you tell when they're doing that?
So it comes down to body position, right? So there are a lot of people that like to elevate, get on top of you, get close to you, and that's a power position, right? So everyone kind of has their own personal space that they're comfortable with. We're sitting here and we're a few feet apart.
You're like a half a foot tall, or you're a half a foot higher, because that's how I've designed it. Like the Tonight Show, so I'm a half a foot higher than everybody here, and they get who's in charge, to be honest. Yeah. And a lot of times I'm refereeing people arguing, so that has to be that way. I can't be lower than them.
Right.
But if you're in a negotiation and you come into somebody's office, they're probably higher than you are in your little chair front of their desk. Is there anything to make of that?
It depends on what you want to get across, right? Do you want to be in that power position, or do you want to equal things up? What I like to do with the people that work for me is just same level, right? We are on the same level. We work together. I don't want to be elevated. I don't want to have a chair that's higher, right? So I have one of those standing desks, and I stand a lot as I'm quote unquote sitting there, right? And when people walk in, I bring the desk down to the level that I'm used to, but I realize that it's too high still. So I actually will take it down to where it hits my knees. The desk will hit my knees because it opens up what's in front of me so people are a little bit more comfortable to have conversations. And what I say to everyone is, I want us on the level playing field, right? So I'm not trying to put that power out there. I'm not trying to say that I'm your boss or anything like that. What I'm trying to do is just put a level. And if I'm going out there in a meeting with a client, if the client has that attitude that they want to be in that power position, I will more than likely give that to them. I'll let them have it.
In a heartbeat.
Right? They want the head of the conference table, please. Right? When they say, oh no, you please sit at the head of the conference table, I take that as a cue as, okay, that's mine to lead the conversation. So all of these little small things that we do say a lot without actually saying it.
What is mirroring?
Oh, mirroring is always interesting because human beings like to be around people that are just like them, right? So our best friends are people that are just like us, similar interests, we do similar things, we play similar sports, whatever it may be. We were talking about golfing earlier. When it comes to mirroring, if you're in the sales side, you look at it and you go, okay, what are they doing? Do they talk with their hands? Do they sit up a lot? Are they elevating their levels? Are there certain things that they're doing that you can start to mirror as well? So what they are doing, you start to do as well. And then what it does is it creates this comfort level between the two individuals, and they start to open up a little bit more. As Jim's face just gets...
I would take that. All right. If I was like Adriana's probably doing her homework back there, which she should. She's a student, okay? But I will interrupt this important assignment. So if I started, you've sat in these meetings with me. Mm-hmm. If I started mirroring what you were doing or what somebody was doing at the table, wouldn't you kind of think I was messing with them?
A little bit, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's because you make it too obvious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So here's a perfect mirroring technique, right? So we all want to get everyone to the word yes when we're selling them, right?
Yes.
That's a simple thing that I just did right there. I made him say yes, right? Start to ask questions where they say yes. Yes, right? Have you looked at our website yet? Yes. Okay. I start to train you saying yes. And as we continue to go down that sales path, I have you saying yes already instead of no. It's a whole lot easier to get you to yes that way. That's a simple mirroring technique.
This feels very manipulative. I'm like, we're learning this in school right now, but I understand what you mean by that. You're trying to lead them to that yes, because essentially you're just selling them on what you want, whether that be your business, your product. So to be able to do that, and as you said, to mirror them in a way, I feel like you're doing it right now because I'm giving you eye contact and you're giving it straight back to me. That is showing engagement and focus. So then that will lead the person to be like, okay, this is a more comfortable environment. I'm able to have a conversation with this person. Right. So then that is another way to lead them towards that yes factor.
Yeah, we've got like a whole psychological thing going on in the studio today, right? I think we're scaring Jim.
What just happened?
I mean, I try to keep things really natural on my show and in life, and don't really want to analyze too many things. Even I went into a big sales thing yesterday, and it's just like, hey, how you doing? And none of what you're talking about is ever a part. I mean, obviously, you're taking like persuasive speech or something at school right now.
Oh yeah, I've taken those classes.
Yeah, I've taken that, and I'm just sitting there thinking, A, I want to go somewhere where I'm going to get some laughs and a sale when you get to that part of your. So, I mean, I don't know if I want to know this or not.
Well, maybe you'll notice the next time you're in
I will notice in a heartbeat. Yeah. So the summarization here is basically what I'm not wanting to do, which is pay attention to what you're talking about.
Yeah, pay attention to who you're talking with. I mean, not just the words, but the body, what they're doing. One of the biggest things that I notice in any conversation I have during the day is what their feet are doing, right? So my feet are directly focused at you right now, which means I'm interacting with you. If I start to move my feet, one towards the door, one at you, I'm starting to lose interest.
Just turned.
If I move both feet away, I'm starting to turn my body toward you. You're starting to look at my shoulder at this point. That's a problem. We're having issues at this point. I'm starting to move away from you. And simple, subtle things like this, if you pay attention to them, will make you realize that I'm talking about something right now that's either making them uncomfortable or they're losing interest. I need to figure out what I can do to get those feet to come back toward me, right? So it's feet, it's eyes, it's body, it's all of these things. And if you pay attention to these, and this is, master of sales, essentially, body movements, but if you pay attention to this stuff, it will send your sales through the roof because you'll start to understand what doesn't work and what is working, and you'll become a better salesperson.
It all comes back to the A/B profiling.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that another time. Now that I understand, and I really like. All right, well, I appreciate both of you being so candid, and I will pay attention in the next sales meeting on where that is. I'm not a huge, you're talking if they look right or they look left. Whenever somebody leaves my eyes, I have problems with that.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's like, I don't know how to take that.
I think it's a generational
I feel like just
thing.
Taking their head and just say, hey, hey, what is it? Robert De Niro in Meet the Fockers.
Yep.
And he's like, he puts his fingers in his eyes and he goes, hey, I'm looking at you. I feel like saying, hey, I'm looking at you. Look at me.
Yep.
But it's not that. I can't intimidate them into that. I have to give them the right material and the right tone.
Right.
To keep that.
If the eyeballs are going left or they're going right or they're going down, you have to realize at that point, I'm losing this person. If they're going up, it's an interactive conversation. They're thinking about what I'm having a conversation with them about. But left, right, down, we're having some issues.
All right, I'll take these papers into our next negotiation, and let's try it, Adriana. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, all of you. Check us out on all the podcast networks and on YouTube and Instagram. And we will see you next time.
The Mastering Local Marketing Podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing.